Surrey isn't emptying out, it's being traded, and most buyers don't realize what that actually means yet. Stick around to the end because once you understand who is leaving Surrey, who is replacing them, and how that changes price behavior, you'll stop guessing and start making better moves. You're being told Surrey is booming, or at least will be in the future, but homeowners are quietly selling and leaving. And where they're going next will change prices here. This isn't panic. This is structure. And if you own in Surrey or you're thinking about buying here, this directly affects your net worth. My name is danjreilly. I work in Surrey and Langley every single week. I don't just read stats. I sit across from buyers and sellers while they make real decisions with real money. And right now, Surrey is not losing people randomly. It's going through a trade. One group of homeowners is exiting. A different group is entering. And those two groups behave very differently. That's the part most people miss. First, let's define what being traded actually means. Markets don't move because of population alone. They move because of replacement quality. Ask yourself this question. When a homeowner sells in Surrey, who replaces them? Same income level, same buying power, same urgency, same tolerance for price? Right now, the answer is no. Surrey used to be a ladder city. Sell in Vancouver, buy bigger in Surrey, then later move slightly outward. That ladder worked because value gaps made sense, commutes felt manageable, and buyers felt like they were moving up. Then prices compressed hard during COVID. Surrey ran fast, too fast relative to the wages and lifestyle tolerances. Now that rates are higher and work patterns normalized, that compression is unwinding. So instead of people moving within Surrey, they're making bigger jumps. That's the trade. For group number one, we're going to talk about the sellers who are exiting Surrey. So let's break this one down clearly. Starting off with move-up families, these are families who bought in Surrey because it was the logical step at the time. Now that they've built equity, now the kids are older, priorities have changed. Now they're asking one question. If I'm paying this, what am I actually getting? And more often than not, that answer pushes them out to Langley, Maple Ridge, Abbotsford, and Chilliwack. More space, quieter neighborhoods, newer homes, different lifestyle pace, and this is not anti-Surrey, this is value optimization. Next, we're going to go over the commute-reset households. This group is driven by time and not price. They bought into remote work. Then hybrid and office pressure returned. Now they're doing the math on their life. Surrey commute traffic plus construction equals time loss. So now they sell and move inward. Burnaby, New West, Port Moody. Smaller homes, higher price per square foot, but more hours back every week. That trade makes sense to them. Next, we're going to talk about accidental investors. This is the group that quietly adds supply. These are people who bought condos while single, upsized but kept the condo, and bought pre-sales thinking the rent growth was guaranteed. Now they're dealing with higher mortgage renewals, rising strata fees, insurance pressures, softer rents, and more vacancy risk, so they sell. But they're not buying again in Surrey. That's supply without replacement demand. This group matters more than headlines. For group number two, we're going to talk about the buyers replacing them. Now let's talk about who is actually buying in Surrey today. This is where the market behavior changes. Today's Surrey buyer is more payment sensitive, more cautious, more conditional, and more comparison driven. They're often first-time home buyers stretching carefully, families priced out of Vancouver, buyers waiting for confirmation, not momentum, and end users who need value, not stories. These buyers do not chase, they negotiate hard, and that shifts how prices move. Why this changes price behavior? This is the key insight. When equity-rich sellers are replaced by price-sensitive buyers, you don't get crashes, you get friction. More listings, longer days on market, more price reductions, and more failed expectations. Good homes still sell, but bad homes are getting punished. And the definition of bad expands in this environment. Bad can now mean layout inefficiency, overpricing by even 3 to 5%, high strata fees, deferred maintenance risk, location compromises, investor-heavy buildings, and future uncertainty. Buyers are no longer forgiving. Why does this confuse most people? Because they see two things at once. One neighbor sells quickly, and another listing sits forever. People think the market is random when it's really not. It's selective. Surrey is splitting into multiple micro markets. Family-oriented, ground-oriented, well-located homes stay liquid, while investor-heavy, high-risk, compromised product slows down very hard. Same city, completely different outcomes. So what does this mean if you own in Surrey? If you own a strong home with good fundamentals, you are not doomed, but you are no longer protected by momentum. Nowadays, execution matters more than ever. It means pricing correctly from day one, removing friction, understanding buyer psychology, and not anchoring to peak pricing. So if you own a home that only worked when rates were ultra low, this market is going to expose that. Waiting is not a strategy, clarity is. What this means if you're already buying in Surrey, this is where opportunity lives, but only if you buy right. You want scarcity, family appeal, livability, and a low future cost exposure. What you want to avoid is old investor-heavy condos, weak strata buildings, high insurance risk, and anything that relies on rent growth to survive. In this market, the best buys are not cheap on paper, they're under-negotiated. Homes where the seller's expectations are breaking down faster than the buyer pool. What this means for investors, there is no longer a buy anything and wait market. A lot of investors are winning by reducing risk, targeting end user demand, avoiding future surprises, and prioritizing resale liquidity. If you don't know who your exit buyer is, you're speculating and not investing. So to wrap things up, Surrey isn't emptying out, it's being traded. Equity-rich sellers are exporting money, and price-sensitive buyers are importing demand. That creates a transition market. Transition markets usually reward people who move early and not emotionally. So if you're buying in Surrey or Langley and you want some real advice based on what's happening right now in your area or on a specific property, shoot me a text at 604-288-7592, and I'll tell you what's happening in your pocket of the market and what I'd do if I were you. See you in the next one.